what's going on? So this was a good topic that came up, got me thinking. I was talking on a live stream, and was talking about hip hop when it used to have catchy songs. You remember? Obviously, when you think about the show, which came out 40 years ago with Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick, and of course Rappers Delight, Grandmaster Flash Furious Five. No, Sugar Hill Gang, because the message was not catchy, but it was catchy with the beat and the groove. They had a message, but it was catchy. Even the message. But then Curtis Blow, the breaks, basketball, Curtis Blow always had like a catchy song. Biz Markie, Just a Friend. I was asked about Naughty by Nature had a lot of those anthems, Hip Hop Array, all that, Onyx Slam. Remember like the songs that were like catchy call and response? Even Run DMC was like that, and that was catchy call and response. All that catch and response. You had like anthems. Whatever happened to that era? You know, you had like Bust the Move, Young MC. You had the songs they were like a call and response. The Humpty Dance. They took a life of their own. I think the last thing I remember, Afro Man and Tipsy and all that, that was about I want to say 20 years ago. You don't get the catch and response no more. Soldier Boy was catch and response. No, like it was like felt like novelty, but they was catchy. And that was a lost art. I want to say like that. I want to say like 80s and 90s, the hip hop era. They were like anthems. I was even asked about Baby Got Back, how that was an anthem, and how that was used as an anthem. And I said, yeah, that definitely there was message in that music, and they were used as anthems. They stood out for something. However you looked at it, it was an anthem. Ice Cube, it was a good day. People have used that as an anthem. They were catchy, but they were anthems. That's what things that hip hop used to have going for it. Remember when it was catchy and it was like an anthem? It was like a sing along, rap along. It just really shows you how the game changed. And it kind of took it for granted. Roxanne, Roxanne was like an anthem. And then it morphed into others and it had configurations of it. So these songs had like a message to them, but they were catchy and people were vibing to them. And obviously, like you hear they just kind of had a life to them. Sometimes they would be considered might be considered corny in some ways, but yet they had a message that made them catchy. Parents just don't understand Will Smith, Jazzy Jeff, Fresh Prince. That was catchy. Summertime was catchy. I mentioned the Humpty Dance with Digital Underground. Rest in peace, Shock G. That was catchy. You know, some of those songs they just had like a melody. They would just have a way that people kind of gravitated towards them, but that they was catchy. They put you in a certain frame of mind. Hip hop had more of a catchiness about it, you know, and they is way the manner was, the design of it. Now, does that mean that that you wonder to yourself why did it stop being that way? I said, well, people did they stop having fun with it? You could even throw hammers. You can't touch this because that was catchy. Catchphrases, tones. You remember when hip hop used to make you dance, used to make you smile. Sometimes you cringe. Sometimes you were kind of like, I don't know about that. But it had a kind of groove that you just definitely were like, that got my attention. That's a lost art. That's what hip hop used to do. So if you remember the last time you heard a catchy hip hop song that had a message but was catchy and resonated, let me know. I think it was mainly in the 80s and the 90s though on the real. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. The ones that you dug too. That you don't think are cringy. Let's talk about different songs that had a way of, you know. Even when I think about Nas as If I Ruled the World, it just had a way of a cadence to it and you'd want to rap along and sing along. That was a Curtis Blow remake, but he did in such a way with Lauren Hill on the hook. You know, just think about those kind of things, those messages, but they were feel good songs that resonated in hip hop. Please like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear, watch out for another. Share it if you like. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm out one time. Peace.